Hola y bienvenidos. I'm Vladimir Kislinger.
And I'm Brianda Villegas. Welcome to our Celebrating Hispanic Heritage Special.
Tampa Bay has a long Hispanic history and a thriving community that includes many different Latin cultures.
And tonight, we will share some of the very best of those with you, and we'll also bring you stories from our partners across the nation.
Tampa's Ybor City district used to be packed with more than 100 cigar factories. Now, only one remains.
And rolling cigars by hand, Vladimir, it is definitely an art, and I recently had the chance to learn the very basics of this traditional trade at the J.C. Newman Cigar Company. El Reloj Cigar Factory opened in 1910. Its clock keeping the city on schedule.
Told our neighbors when to wake up, when to go to school, when to go to work, when to have lunch, when to come home. It really shaped their day.
For fourth-generation owner Drew Newman, inside was where he spent most of his childhood.
So I would just explore. This building is full of so many nooks and crannies and so much history, old boxes, old memorabilia. There's stuff everywhere.
Now anyone can check out that stuff.
Cigars really shape the fabric and the character and the heritage of Tampa. We want to share that.
With a free museum on the first floor of the building, a theater on the second, and you have to check out the third floor, which is where the magic happens. This is Luis Gonzalez, just one of the cigar rollers here.
Without tobacco, Tampa might not have been what it is today.
He says every cigar roller makes about 90 cigars per day.
It's not as easy as it looks.
So I took a hand rolling class to learn the basics, like using a knife called a chaveta.
It is a little difficult. It takes time. You have to know how to make different mixes. It takes a lot of practice and a lot of attention.
Making sure the wrapper isn't wrinkled.
There we go.
And trimming
Boom.
the cigar to the right size. An experience diving you right into the history that Newman says makes Tampa, well, Tampa.
So much Florida's new, but how many things are 113 years old in Tampa still operating the way they were 113 years ago? It's amazing.
And Vladimir, all in all, I think I did a pretty good job, but it's way harder than it looks.
Oh yes, and we have seen where they worked. Now a look at how Ybor City cigar factory workers lived in the early 1900s.
At a unique place called La Casita, which means little house in Spanish, and you can get a glimpse of how thousands of cigar factory workers spent their free time back in the day. So we're used to these guys getting most of the attention while we walk through Ybor City. So you may not notice this ordinary looking house. Museum volunteer Kurt Brown tells me this was once a cigar worker's family home in the early 1900s.
They built Tampa. It was very fast growing and it was a good life for the people. The first bedroom would have been the parents' bedroom. You can see mosquito netting, that's pretty obvious, but the metal bed was for termites.
And down the hallway is
The children's bedroom. They had other toys, mostly their handmade toys.
and the kitchen in the back.
What about the bathroom?
They used an outhouse.
Kurt says all of this is just a little peek into the lives of the hardworking immigrants who built our iconic city.
And Tampa went from being a little place of 700 people to now what we have today.
So if you'd like to visit La Casita, you do have to set up a guided tour, and you can do so Wednesday through Sunday. And well, Vladimir, it does take years to become an expert at horseback riding, but riding to music, that's something muy especial.
That's right, and coming up, they call it ballet on horseback. From Mexico, the art of escaramuzas charra. Plus, he was Tampa Bay's first baseball legend. Now you can see what made Al Lopez the sports superstars he was.
Welcome back to our Hispanic Heritage Month special, and this month there are dozens of new Americans who can actually celebrate.
So help me God. Congratulations.
60 people took the oath of U.S. citizenship recently in Bartow during 2 ceremonies at the Polk County History Center. And the new citizens come from all around the world, from South America to South Africa and Jamaica, Jordan. The ceremony left new citizens beaming with pride.
I've been through this process for so long, and it's not just for me, it's for my family, my husband, and I mean, I don't have words. This is it's something that you cannot describe unless you are here.
This Sunday, Constitution Day, commemorates the signing of the U.S. Constitution in 1787, and Citizenship Day started in 1940 as an I Am an American Day. And Vladimir, one of the most impressive events in Mexican rodeo.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, there you can see it. It is a group of women called escaramuzas.
Escaramuzas. You may also be surprised to know that there are teams that exist here in the United States. Elizabeth Alvarez has more about one of those teams in San Diego.
Escaramuza actually goes back multiple years. It's part of a Mexican heritage.
It's a national sport in Mexico. Escaramuza Charra is the only female equestrian event in the Mexican rodeo.
Oh my God.
Giselle Gonzalez is a member of Escaramuza El Lucero.
We have little girls, we have in between, we have the older ones. And we've been just practicing just to be competing.
Escaramuzas ride horses to music in a unique fashion.
It consists of 8 girls with obviously their 8 horses, and it's just multiple exercises that we do. We do spins, we do crosses, all types of exercises that all in the end just come together into a beautiful performance.
Think of it as synchronized swimming on horses. Very precise, choreographed maneuvers. And these are moves not just anyone can do. These athletes sit side saddle.
It's not like your typical saddle where you have your legs open and you have more stability. You actually have all the weight to one side.
The sport was inspired by Adelitas, who were women fighters during the Mexican Revolution in the early 1900s. Girls competing in escaramuzas wear traditional outfits. Escaramuza teams mostly compete in Mexico. Aside from these ladies displaying their athleticism, Giselle says this sport is also a way for them to showcase their cultural heritage and affirm their Mexican-American identity.
It's just full adrenaline, full excitement, and it's the best emotion ever.
And because of his Spanish heritage and well-mannered ways, baseball legend and Tampa native Al Lopez earned the nickname El Señor.
El Señor.
Así
He was
es.
a catcher for teams including the Brooklyn Dodgers, the Pittsburgh Pirates, and the Chicago White Sox before a successful career in management and then induction into the Hall of Fame.
Lopez's childhood home in Ybor City was recently moved from the 19th to 12th Street for a special purpose.
Now it's a museum where fans can come in, check out more than 130 years of baseball history.
When we bring our tour groups in, we like to tell them this is our biggest artifact.
The place where Al Lopez, the son of Spanish immigrants, grew up, along with his 8 siblings.
After you learn a little bit of Al,
Curator Arminda Mata says it was transformed into a museum.
I was told a tidbit by a gentleman that said that there was one time that the umpire tried to throw Al Lopez out of the game, and he turned around and said, "You can't throw me out of the game, this is my field."
To shine a light on the accomplishments of El Señor.
The first Hall of Famer, the first MLB player, and the first manager to come out of Ybor City.
The first, but not the last.
All of these men came out of the city of Tampa or the surrounding counties.
As this gem highlights dozens of local legends.
I love Pete Alonso's cleats because Pete was a little upset that he forgot to clean them, and my favorite part is the dirt on his cleats.
Preserving a pastime.
For people to speak all these different languages and come together, baseball was the universal language.
Still bringing together cultures and inspiring young fans right here in Ybor.
our little leagues are so important, and the coaches and the parents that get their children there are so important to continue this history and the growth of baseball in Tampa.
The Tampa Baseball Museum is open Tuesday through Saturday from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m.
And classical ballet got its start in Italy way back in the 15th century, but that's not where it stops.
Coming up, a backstage pass to the movement known as Ballet Hispanico, and later, an exciting tribute to the queen of Latin music, Shakira. New York City's Ballet Hispanico is the largest Latinx and Hispanic cultural organization in the United States and one of America's cultural treasures.
And it brings together arts and dance communities to celebrate Hispanic culture. The reporter, Ayan Harry, has a closer look at this unique and inclusive group.
This is not just a dance company. It's a movement.
A movement steeped in history and in pride. Known for nurturing promising dancers, this is Ballet Hispanico.
Where you can go, feel connected, feel that someone is there with you, and feel your culture represented.
Ballet Hispanico is also known for shattering stereotypes.
The mission of Ballet Hispanico is to celebrate, preserve, and expand on what it is to be a Latine, Latinx in the United States.
Located in the heart of Manhattan's Upper West Side, Ballet Hispanico is the largest Latinx cultural organization in the U.S., including a world-renowned dance company and dance school, with community outreach at the heart of all they do. In 1970, founder Tina Ramirez had a vision.
Founding vision to give access to quality arts training and quality arts works in the dance field.
His first time at Ballet Hispanico as a dance student, Eduardo Villaro knew this would be a safe space. Still, he had no idea this company would change his life.
Let me see if I can find one.
Villaro is now celebrating 15 years as CEO and creative director.
My vision for Ballet Hispanico moving forward is that it continues to amass its strength and become a really big resource organization, let me say resource institution, for anyone interested in many aspects of the Latinx culture.
The company will be touring North America during Hispanic Heritage Month, from Canada to the U.S., ending in Mexico.
Stopping at the Cervantino Festival, one of the oldest dance festivals in Latin America.
They will wrap up the month in Manhattan with Celebración Latina, an annual festival where the community is invited in for a day of live music, food from local vendors, and of course, dance.
You get to come in and try classes, learn what it is, what the difference between flamenco and maybe Afro-Cuban dance. And then you go upstairs to our big penthouse studio and you watch our students, so you see the development of students.
And Tampa Bay is home to some of the tastiest Latin American food in the U.S., and that includes a locally owned Puerto Rican bakery.
And Vladimir, I'm about to make you super jealous because I recently took a delicious look inside La Creación Bakery in Tampa.
As soon as you come through La Creación's door, you'll smell those freshly baked goods.
We sell also quesitos, guava pastries.
And don't even get me started on this bread.
Pan sobao, which is soft and sweet bread. And our pan de agua is kind of salty, regular bread. It's kind of similar to the Cuban bread, but it's softer.
This is Kelvin Cruz. He and Ramon Ruiz say they always knew they were going to be business partners someday.
When we were kids, we used to sell toys, stamps, and different stuff in our school.
The idea of opening La Creación began in Puerto Rico.
After the Hurricane Maria, we were like, okay, if I'm going to move to the States, this is the time.
Although a bit unsure in the beginning.
We didn't know how big or how large it was the Puerto Rican, living here.
They've created a sense of community for others who have also moved from the island.
They look very happy. They say, okay, this place remembers me when I was a kid and in different town in Puerto Rico. And
Now they say they look around and notice it's not just their fellow Boricuas celebrating the culture through food.
seeing people, for different cultures from all around the world, and after they try your product, telling you that they like it and they will be our clients. So it's amazing. It feels pretty good, yeah.
And there are many stars who go by a single name like Cher, Beyoncé, and Adele.
But there is only one,
Shakira.
And coming up next, we go inside a new museum built around the Queen of Latin music.
International singer, songwriter, and musician Shakira had simple beginnings in Barranquilla, Colombia. Now, she's known as the Queen of Latin Music and being honored by the Grammy Museum.
And the exhibit is called Shakira, Shakira. As Doug Kolk explains, they named the exhibit twice because Shakira is such a global phenomenon.
Shakira played such a huge role in making Latin music as big as it is today because she was really one of those breakthrough artists. And throughout her career, she's really drawn on music from all over the world. She opened up her archive to us, so 99% of what you see on display is directly from Shakira. You can see 2 of her Super Bowl outfits when she performed with J-Lo. We've got a number of other artifacts that show her as a multi-instrumentalist, and then also a number of her costumes.
So we enter Shakira's world.
Yeah, really, we wanted to show her, basically the Shakira Atlas. Like, what are her influences around the world? So looking at different parts, she played at the World Cup, and, Indian music is something that she's drawn from. And then her dad was Lebanese, so the belly dancing actually comes from her family. It's part of her heritage.
I just want to thank you for all the support and the love that you've given me.
I think, with Shakira, she's really a global superstar. And it was telling that story of how did somebody who started in Barranquilla, Colombia as a singer-songwriter become this huge star around the world. She's somebody that reaches probably more of the world than almost any star.
So what's the story behind the rhyming dictionary?
Shakira, on her 3rd album, Laundry Service, decides, okay, I'm not going to write in Spanish anymore, I'm going to write in English. But to do that, she has to learn English. So she takes a year. In her life, her parents were struggling financially, and they kind of looked to her like, can you help carry some of the weight here? She worked as an actress early in her career as a teenager, and it wasn't because that's what she wanted to do. It was like, okay, this is part of helping to support my family. So for her, I think a lot of it was, I don't want to be in a position where I'm in this financially strapped. I want to be a success.
So what instruments does she play?
Plays guitar, keyboard, she sings harmonica and bass, and also percussion. Yeah,
wow.
Really good drummer.
Okay, so I guess everything.
I think, people have this sort of narrow idea of who Shakira is. It's like she's a pop star and she swivels her hips. And when they come away from it, they're like, wow, she writes all her songs. She's a multi-instrumentalist. She's super smart. She speaks 5 languages. She has as many listeners on Spotify as Taylor Swift. But also, she has this ability to sort of reach people in different ways. She's very charismatic, she's got a great voice. And there's something about her music, because it draws on so many influences, that it allows her to appeal to a broader audience.
So Jason, I'll tell you, coming in, I did not know much about Shakira. She is a master of her craft.
Right?
I have a whole newfound respect for her.
I've done my job.
You should have seen Vladimir practicing his Shakira moves. They were perfect.
But we couldn't. Anyways, we'll be right back. That is all we have time for tonight. We hope you have enjoyed the last half hour.
It It was so much fun, and we certainly have enjoyed bringing you these inspirational stories celebrating our Hispanic heritage. So until next time,
Buenas noches.